Hey everyone, your favorite presidents are back with another tier list. Today we'll be looking at the Resident Evil games.
Oh boy, I'm excited for this.
Me too. As everyone knows, the three of us are massive survival horror fans, with the Silent Hill series being our favorite, but the Resident Evil games are goated as well.
I agree, and for the first time on this channel, we have a special guest. He's a man with an encyclopedic knowledge of the games and extended universe. In fact, he loves the franchise so much that he even changed his name to honor one of his favorite characters. Let's welcome George Wesker Bush.
Hey everyone.
Welcome, George.
Welcome, George.
Welcome, George.
Thanks, guys. You have no idea how tickled I am to be here today. I've been suggesting the four of us get together to do something for years now, and here we are finally doing it.
We knew we couldn't possibly do this list justice without your input.
I appreciate that, Donnie.
How about we get started with the list?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, some ground rules right off the bat because we've had issues with our previous tier lists. Rule 1, everyone's opinion gets recognized.
Hey Barry, buddy, mind if I hop in on that rule?
Go ahead, George.
Thanks. Personally, I think I'll be best suited as more of a guide on this tier list rather than a ranker like the three of you. If I had my druthers, I'd put the whole lot of them into S tier. So I think I'll just chime in when I feel I have something to add or to change the perspective on the discussion.
That works for us, George.
Great, thanks.
Rule 2 is no added tiers. We're sticking with what we have S through F, no pluses or minuses. The third rule is no fighting or name calling. We're a passionate bunch, and we've always gotten quite heated when talking about favorite things, but let's keep it respectful. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Now let's get on to the meat and potatoes and rate some games.
I like the enthusiasm. First up is, of course, 1996's Resident Evil. The game coined the term survival horror and in many ways was the start of the genre.
A classic game. It was originally supposed to be a remake of a Famicom exclusive, Sweet Home, but Shinji Mikami decided to take it in his own direction, and he ended up making a masterpiece for the ages.
A masterpiece, George, really?
Ha 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 ha, I see we already have some bickering. What are your thoughts, Donnie?
Sure, the franchise had to start somewhere, but this original game is basically as worthless today as Joe's balls.
I'll have you know that I managed to bust a nut last Friday.
Wasn't your granddaughter's preschool graduation last Friday?
Yes.
The game has terrible graphics, clunky controls, lame puzzles, boring bosses. It's all around a shit show.
Hey, I don't like how you're talking about one of my favorite games, mister.
Don't worry, George. This is just how Donald gets. He likes the game even if he won't admit it.
Sexual repression, huh?
The only good parts of this game are Jill's knockers, and the fact that it lets you leave people behind to die. It gives me such a rush to see Rebecca get decapitated by that hunter.
I like Rebecca. I think she's cute.
She's 18, not 12.
Really? Never mind.
Oh, come on. It's got more going for it than that. Think of how original those bosses are. You fight a snake and a plant, and when Tyrant comes back on the helicopter pad, assuming you have that ending, you are in for one exciting time.
I'm going to side with Bush. We can't just rank games based on how they look and play compared to modern games. Resident Evil isn't flashy, but it's got a hell of a lot of charm.
Thanks, Barry.
I'm going to say this is an A-tier game.
I'll say it's D tier. F tier is reserved. Wait and see, boys.
I also think it's A tier. I had so many great times playing this with Strom Thurmond as we reminisced about not letting black people on the bus.
Not a great thing to joke about, Joe.
Where's the joke? I remember one time I was in Honolulu, and this little brown boy came on the bus with his Chinese sister, and me and a few other fellows picked him up and tossed him out the window into a pineapple orchard.
Joe, that was you?
That was you, Barack?
Yes.
Remember how funny that was?
No, I do not.
Yikes, I once said black people didn't belong in Trump Tower, and even I saw how racist that was. You have to remember, Barack, Joe is from another time.
Clearly some emotions running high right now, but let's get on with the list. By my calculations, the original Resident Evil is going in B tier. Barry? Barry, pal?
Joe, I want you to cherish every second you have left on this earth because if I were to give in to my rage right now, they would be spent being force-fed your own skin.
Whoa, where has this Obama been?
Geez, relax, Barack. It was just a prank.
Just think, Joe. I could end you any moment I wanted. The Secret Service wouldn't even have a chance to stop it.
Fuck, man, now you're starting to scare me.
Just think. Okay, B tier. Next up is Resident Evil 2 from 1998.
This is a real gem, isn't it, fellas?
It's better than the first one, but still clunky. At least Claire is hot as hell. She has that whole sister you never thought was hot. But then one day she comes home from basketball practice and you can see her boobs starting to develop in that Jersey vibe. You catch a glimpse of side boob through the armhole and get hard, having to cover it up with one of your mother's decorative pillows until you get a chance to go up to your room and rub one out to the fantasy of her waking you up in the middle of the night, straddling you completely naked. She tells you you're the greatest big brother and she wants to pay you back by letting you have your way with her. You pull her down and start ravenously making out with her. Then you flip her over and throw off your pajama bottoms, revealing your family jewels and saber. She moans for pleasure as you give her the greatest night of her life. Did I say sister? I meant stepsister.
Oh, okay, I agree then.
Yeah, that was weird until you said stepsister.
I also wish she was my stepsister, or real sister. It doesn't make much of a difference in Texas.
I would consider this an S-tier game. It's nearly flawless. The RPD is an amazing beginning, and the sewers into the lab create such a cohesive progression, as if you're really rushing to escape Raccoon City, whereas in the original RE, you're going back to the same places over and over again, giving you less of a sense of movement.
The bosses are a bit too hard, though. It took me so many tries to beat Tyrant on Claire B.
It is unfortunate that that boss fight is mostly running until Ada gives you the rocket launcher.
Sherry makes up for it, though. S-tier.
Oh boy, is this going to be our first S tier? A very deserving one.
I wouldn't count on it,
Definitely don't count on it. I'm going to sink your dreams by calling this one C tier.
meaning it will end up in A, not terrible.
If that's how it goes, that's how it goes. Sometimes having friends means not always having things your way.
I wouldn't call us friends quite yet. Let's see how the rest of the list goes first. Next up is Resident Evil 3.
Another classic.
It's still PS1, so trash, but at least you don't have too much Wang in the mix. I could do without the Carlos section. Last thing I want to do is play Gardener Simulator 1999, but whatever, it's short.
I actually really like the Carlos section. It's nice how you have ammunition and healing that you don't really have to worry about conserving. What are your thoughts, Joe?
This is actually my favorite PS1 Resident Evil. Easy mode is so great because you always have enough ammo to last you through the game.
I forgot about easy mode. What a banger. I don't need to play easy being an expert gamer, but there's something so satisfying about firing up the old PS one after a long day of bullying minorities on Truth Social and just destroying everything you can find with the machine gun.
Have we finally found one all of you like? I'm so happy. Could this be our first S tier?
Perhaps Nemesis can be annoying, but exploring the city is a lot of fun.
Hey guys, have you ever seen The Girl in Pink?
Is that the sequel to Cuties or something, Sleepy Joe?
No, one time when I was exploring the city in RE3, I saw a girl in pink quickly run away in the distance. It was only the one time, but I'm sure I saw it. No one ever believes me, though.
Is that legit, George?
It's possible he saw Brad Vickers.
No, everyone says that. It wasn't Brad Vickers. It was a girl in pink.
Well, sorry, Joey. I'm not sure what to tell you. I've clocked at least 1,000 hours in this like every Resident Evil game, and I've never seen a girl in pink in the background.
Maybe I have a special copy.
Or maybe your pedophilia has gotten so bad that you're hallucinating girls in video games too.
Okay, boys, we have a lot more games to rank. Where are we putting it?
S tier.
I'll give it A tier.
Ooh, it's down to you, Barack. S or A?
For you, George, I'll go S.
Yay, our first S tier.
Now we have Code Veronica.
S tier. Steve Burnside is a Chad 100%.
Interesting you like this one, Donnie. A lot of people complain it didn't age well.
The PS2 era is where games started to get really good graphically. I'll be damned if people call the low polygon shit like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on the PS1 acceptable. But can you really complain when the cutscene where Steve stares at Claire's ass gets you hard in an instant?
I guess not, haha.
I like the game, but the island drags like hell. The first time I played it, I got soft-locked from running out of ammo and health twice before I even made it to Antarctica.
Skill issue.
He's right. That is a skill issue, Barack.
I haven't forgotten about the bus, Joe.
It was just a prank, Barack. Please spare my life.
Also, the fact that Claire and Chris share an item box, but the game doesn't warn you when you're about to switch is very annoying. If you don't make multiple saves, you could end up stranded on the final boss without enough ammo to beat it. That's how I soft-locked the third time.
Skill issue.
How is that a skill issue?
If you were a better gamer, you'd be able to sense where the game is going, like me.
Are you implying that you're such a good gamer that you can see the future?
Yes, it's a gift and a curse.
I have some youngin' lingo for this exact situation. I think what you just did is what the kids call cape.
First of all, you mean cap. Second of all, no cap.
I don't even have the energy to fight with you. What about the plane tyrant?
To be honest, I struggle with games a lot,
Big surprise, Sleepy Joe.
but I've never gotten the complaint about the plane tyrant. You just use the four-corner strategy. I figured it out on my first try. In fact, I find the entirety of Code Veronica to be pretty fair difficulty-wise.
That's impossible, Joe. You're not better than me at games, and I struggle with this one.
Fun development, Sleepy Joe is a better gamer than Barack.
Joe is not better than me at games. I mean, I beat Siren.
Did you decapitate Homoranagi?
The what now?
What do you mean you beat it?
I mean, I got to the credits.
Just the first time?
There's more than one time the credits play.
For fuck's sake, Barack, that's barely 3/4 through the game. There's a whole bunch more.
Damn it, does this really mean of the three of us, I'm the worst gamer?
I think it does.
Fuck me.
If it makes it any better, Barack, having the ability to nuke anyone you want at any given time makes being bad at games seem small by comparison.
I don't have nukes anymore, Joe. I'm not the president.
I'll send you a few.
Thanks, Joe. I still haven't forgotten the hate crime, though.
Can Big Donnie get a nuke or two, Sleepy Joe?
Sure thing.
Gents, I think we're getting off track. Where did we settle on Code Veronica?
S tier.
S tier. Now remember Steve, Barack. Remember his sacrifice.
Okay, I'll go A tier, landing at an S.
Wowee, a second S tier right away. I must say that this is a unique tier list so far. I love all the games, but even I must admit these are some hot takes. Now, what are our thoughts on Survivor?
About that, George. For time, the three of us decided to not rank the side games. We'll only be looking at 1 through 8, Code Veronica, 0, and all the major remakes of those games.
Ah, bummer. I thought we were going whole hog, but all right.
I'm a busy man, George. I have to look at backstage submissions for Trump the Musical.
Oh, I submitted for that. You think you could grease the wheels a little, Donnie? I'm desperate for work.
Who'd you submit for? My grandfather? That's a small role. He only appears in the prologue.
No, I submitted for you.
Excuse me while I go delete George's backstage submission.
Fiddlesticks.
Tough break, George. I'm sure the next game on the list will take your mind off it because we're ranking the Resident Evil remake.
Golly, here we go, boys. What are your thoughts?
I think it's practically perfect. A masterclass in how to remake a game. It's neither a copy and paste with better graphics nor such a departure from the original that fans feel they are disrespected. I give it S tier.
I don't think it's S tier. The platinum is hard because you have to do a no-death run, and there are a lot of instant deaths.
Joey, I don't think it's fair to judge a game based on its trophies, especially considering that for this game, they were created many years after its original release.
That's a good point, George. What are your thoughts simply as a casual player, Joe?
It's a great game. The atmosphere is some of the best in the series, and the puzzles make a lot more sense than the ones in other entries.
Sounds S tier to me.
I guess so.
Donald, are you back? I guess he's still on backstage. Let's keep going. I've heard Donald say good things about the remake, so I don't think he'll mind it going in S.
3 S tiers. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Well, don't get too excited, George, because we're nearing the dark ages of Resident Evil. But before we get there, let's look at Resident Evil 0.
Truly an underrated gem.
I have to agree. Once again, bringing up atmosphere, Resident Evil 0 is without a doubt the scariest game in the series. It has the graphical qualities not possible on the PS1 without having the cheesy scares found in 7 and 8.
Also, Rebecca is a cutie.
Remember what Donald said, Joe. She's 18.
Damn, I forgot. Never mind.
Have you been taking your dementia medicine, Joe?
I forget.
I'll take that as a no.
Sorry for the delay.
Excuse me, what the fuck, Donald?
I was trying something new. Did it land?
No, it definitely didn't land. You can't just say that.
I didn't go hard R.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever, just let it go, Barack. Anyway, I was distracted because this girl with absolutely massive titties submitted for Ivanka, and I couldn't take my eyes off her headshot. I think they're like H-cups. I'm not even joking. I asked her for a more specific size, so hopefully she responds quickly.
Welcome back to the trial, Donnie. Court is in session, and we're currently adjudicating RE0.
Cool it with the court jargon, George. It's weird as hell. Anyway, where did we land on the remake?
S tier.
Okay, good. As for 0, it's annoying as fuck. I mean, the way you have to deal with 2 characters at once is dumb. Usually I'm just trying to slay with Billy, and you have that cancerous sore Rebecca slowing him down. Don't even get me started on the part where you have to play as Rebecca because Billy got cheap-shotted. The worst of it, though, is the final boss.
That may be true, but isn't the game scary?
Scary, Barack? I have never been scared by anything. It's an emotion that is completely foreign to me. You'd understand what I'm talking about if you had my god-tier stoic courage.
If you don't get scared, why do you play survival horror games?
Because fuck you, that's why. I don't have to feel fear to appreciate the thrill of a survival situation.
Let's not fight, fellas.
Give us a tier, Donald. I want to finish this tonight.
I'll do D.
What did you want to do, Joe?
I keep forgetting whether Rebecca is a minor or not.
She isn't.
Then B tier.
We have a harsh D, a B, and I'll do an A. Care to do the honors, George?
Sure, Barry, I think that puts it in B.
Sounds right to me. Resident Evil 4?
Finally, a game for the truly skilled few. I call for a motion to keep the worst gamer among us, who apparently is Barack, from letting his unskilled, uninformed opinion from weighing this game down.
Seconded.
Joe.
Sorry, Barack. I just like not being the bad gamer for once.
Also, Donald, why do you think I don't like Resident Evil 4?
I'd imagine you've never even beaten it for one.
I have beaten Resident Evil 4.
On what difficulty?
I don't see what that has to do with any...
Point proven. Joe, let's tag team this one. Bush, want to hop in?
Well, you already know I'm S tier.
So am I, Joe.
I'll go S tier. I love Ashley.
She's 20.
Fuck me. What do I have to do to get a hot 12-year-old?
Barack, the council has decided we're putting this in S tier.
Fine, but for the record, I would have said S tier as well.
Keep telling yourself that.
I will because it's true. Anyway, buckle up, everyone, because there is some bumpy roads ahead.
Don't get too negative, Barack. Resident Evil 5 and 6 have their moments, and they are part of the beautiful tapestry that is the Resident Evil canon.
I have to respectfully disagree, George, and I think we should rate these together and make that rating F tier.
Make 5 D tier for the boulder punching. I did that once, by the way.
No, you didn't, but okay. I like the black representation with Sheva, even if the rest of the game is wildly racist.
I forgot about the racism. Maybe this game is good.
I'll forget you said that, Joe. Do you agree with us?
Guys, don't be hasty. Let's talk this out.
I don't think that's happening, George.
You too, Joey?
I haven't beaten either game. Not because they're hard or anything. They're just boring. I did the first mission in 5 and put it down, never feeling the desire to pick it back up. With 6, I couldn't even get past the opening cutscene. It's simply not Resident Evil.
But it's literally Resident Evil.
Sorry for this, George, but the three of us are decided. Now we have the RE2 make.
It's an improvement on the original graphically. I'm hard every second I play as Claire, but they took so much out that I couldn't put it higher than B.
I love the Chief.
Because he's literally you.
That's fair. I feel bad for the crocodile, though.
They did the croc dirty for sure. B tier sounds right to me.
That's fine.
Okay, B tier. Now we're cooking with gas. RE3 make.
Can I jump in here? I know I said I wouldn't say much, and I still think all these games are S tier, but if I had to rank them within S tier, RE3 make would be toward the bottom. It's too short, and it removes all the best parts of the original Resident Evil 3. Hell, they removed almost everything from the original. They should have made this a side game with a new character rather than considering it a remake.
That's very true, George.
Have you guys played the nude mod?
I don't want to see that.
I have.
S tier worthy, right?
Yes, but the mod isn't official, so it can't be considered.
I just wanted on the record that if the RE3 make had Jill nude in it, it would be S tier.
Why?
I think Capcom needs to hear it.
Okay, it's on the record.
Thanks, Barack. As for the game with her in clothes, it's not that good. I hate the beginning. The Carlos section is utter trash, and that final boss is horribly designed. On the lower difficulties, it's child's play. On Inferno, it jumps drastically. I still beat it on first try, but stun locking should just not be allowed in games. C tier.
Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't beat that final boss on Inferno.
You didn't? Well, I did. Does that make me a better gamer than Joe again?
Depends. Did you buy the DLC Unlimited Rocket Launcher? I know Joe sure didn't because Jill has a child lock on his PlayStation account to keep him from getting hentai games.
That's true. I spent $40,000 during the pandemic on high school dating sims. They take me back to my youth. We didn't have all the fancy things kids use to date these days like cell phones and such, though. Back then, we had to get a stone tablet from the quarry. Then we had to carve a message to our sweetie and hand it to her during Lyceum. But you had to make sure old man Aristotle didn't catch you, though, because he'd make you read your message out in front of the class, and the cool kids like Alexander the Great would always mock you about it.
What was your question, Donald?
I have no fucking clue.
Well, we'll put RE3 make in C tier.
Let me ask you cowpokes a question. Do you two think that Joey is really as old as he says he is?
I personally think he's likely far older. There's a closet in Joe's house that he told me had his childhood toys in it. I opened it up one time and it was full of dinosaur bones.
What kind of dinosaur?
Brachiosaurus.
That'd date him to the late Jurassic, about 150 million years ago.
You two realize Joe can hear you?
No, he can't. He's probably asleep. Wake up!
What? I was just paying the Sandman a quick visit. What did I miss?
Nothing important. Let's look at Resident Evil 7. A real comeback for the series. We're out of the dark ages, boys.
Not by a long shot. I'm about to rip Resident Evil 7 a new one.
Please don't, Donnie. I'm still weary from the mean things you said about 5 and 6.
Plug your ears then, George, because I'm going to lay out all the garbage choices they made in this game. First, it's first person. I don't care what anyone says. Survival horror should be in third person. First person perspective is for war games and pornography only. Second, the setting, some old house. What happened to the mansions and castles and labs that made these games great? Oh boy, I'm so glad Capcom used all the graphical advancements of the last 20 years to design a shit-stained couch. Third.
All right, Donald, you don't have to put on this whole song and dance. What's the real reason?
Where are the tits?
There it is.
Both Mia and Zoe are flatter than a malnourished Holocaust survivor, and their faces aren't much of an improvement. If Capcom is going to put bull dykes into their games, they can at least have them fuck, but they don't even do that.
Not every game is supposed to get you hard.
Try telling Joe that.
It's a nice inclusion, Barack.
I like 7.
Phew, I was getting worried you'd all hate it.
Ethan isn't much of a protagonist, and at first look you wouldn't even know this was a Resident Evil game, but variety is the spice of life, isn't it?
No, Barack, big boobies and jiggly asses are the spice of life.
At the very least, you have to agree that Jack is a great antagonist.
No, he isn't. Wesker is a great antagonist. Alexia Ashford is a great antagonist. Ramon Salazar is a great antagonist. Jack Baker is a balding, syphilis-ridden incest baby.
How do you know he's the result of incest?
He's from Louisiana.
That's fair. I still think the game is worthy of at least an A tier.
Your people have never been great at thinking, F tier.
It's down to you, Joe.
I like 7 a lot.
Thank you, Joey.
I knew you did, but it still hurts.
All the guns are a lot of fun, and the regeneration is cool because you rarely get a chance to play as a BOW, even if it's really weird how Ethan doesn't question the whole situation much. I'll also put it in A tier.
You don't know how relieved I am. This puts the game in B tier, right?
I think so, George.
I can live with that.
We only have 2 games left, but before we get to Village, I want to warn Joe about something. If you say anything even remotely questionable about Rose, I'm going to have to tell Jill that it's finally time to put a suicide pill into your applesauce.
What if I just don't eat my applesauce?
Well, considering you don't take your dementia medicine, I don't think you'll remember this conversation ever occurring.
You're probably right. Okay, I'll be good.
I'd fuck the shit out of Rose.
Donald.
I didn't realize you partook, Donald. I'm in a club you might be interested in joining.
I'm not joining NAMBLA, Joe.
Give it a try.
No, and I mean Rose when she's 16, not 2 months.
That's still statutory in a lot of states.
But not in all of them, and not in Japan.
A minor difference.
A legally significant difference.
Hey, Donald, what is the age of consent in Japan?
13.
Still a little high.
Boys, can we stop for a second? I feel we've gotten far off track, and I'm becoming genuinely concerned about all of you.
Why me?
Is having Joey and Donnie as your best friends not concerning enough?
Well, yeah, okay.
Can we get back to the list? There are only 2 games left. What are your thoughts on Village?
It's not as good as 7. B tier.
I think it's better than 7, those mommy milkers. B tier.
Rose is so cute, and so is that doll. The thought of
Just give me a letter.
B, I guess.
Okay, B tier. What about Resident Evil 4 Remake?
S tier, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, that's the list. It's weirdly heavy in S and B tier, but I love to see all those S tiers.
This is a dumb fucking looking tier list.
It kind of looks like an F.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's late and I'm tired. I'm going to go, but see you 2 at Hershey Park.
I can't wait.
Gonna be legendary.
What's this about Hershey Park?
Don't worry about it, George.
I mean, if you're going, can I...
Good call, Barack.